In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you all the basics of making a wire armature for sculpting. It's going to be simple, quick, and you won't need a lot of materials. An armature acts as a skeleton and is important for several reasons. 1, it helps you establish the correct anatomy and proportions. 2, it helps you pose your figure. And 3, it supports your clay, making for a much more stable sculpture. For my armatures, I use aluminium wire, which is lightweight and easy to bend. Generally, the larger the sculpture, the thicker armature wire you want to use. Here, I'm using 2 mm, which I fold over itself before inserting one end into my drill. I support the other end with pliers and spin the drill until I have a tight, uniform spiral. Twisting your wire both strengthens the armature and gives the clay something to grab onto. If you don't have a drill, you can create a similar effect by hand twisting some skinny garden wire around your main armature wire, like this. When creating a human figure, I always start by building an armature in a simple T-pose. To get the proportions right, I like to print out a 2D image of a skeleton and then draw a vertical center line, splitting the body in 2. Then I map out my armature wire over top, creating 2 halves. Before joining the 2 halves together, I adjust the shape against a 2D side view of the human skeleton. This helps me add the S-curve of the spine, as well as the soft curve in the legs. I roughly join the armature together with cable ties and then move on to secure my joints with a bit of steel kneaded or epoxy putty, which I mix and add over my cable ties. Next, we're going to create a base for the armature. Here, I'm using a dedicated sculpting base, which I'll link to below, but really any piece of wood will do. I drill 2 holes for the feet, which are a little wider than my armature wire. As you can see, I've left a bit of excess wire here, which I'm now cutting down to the thickness of my board. If you want your armature to be removable, you can leave it as is, just using the base as a holder. But if you want your armature to stay on the base as you start sculpting, you can use a bit of kneaded to anchor the feet onto the board. This system works great for small-scale sculptures up to the size we're working in here. If you're creating a larger piece, you risk the sculpture swaying a lot under the weight of the clay if the armature is only supported at the feet. Therefore, it's a good idea to create another support point for the armature. Here, I'm using galvanized steel piping at a 1/2 inch in diameter, which can be made out of steel piping or built from wood. This is a super easy build as they all just screw together and you can vary the lengths to match the size of your sculpture. I will list all the different parts and sizes in the video description. The end cap here becomes part of your armature and will stay inside. This way you can unscrew your armature from the rest of your stand at any point. Now when we have a solid and anatomically correct armature, it's time to give it a dynamic pose before adding the clay. The pose can still be adjusted slightly later on, but it's good to establish the rough pose you want before you start sculpting. If you're working in plastiline, you can now go ahead and start sculpting. But if your medium is polymer clay or air dry clay, you might want to bulk out your armature a bit more. Tinfoil is great for this. I just block out my main volumes, focusing on the chest, pelvis and head before adding my clay over top. This not only saves on clay, but also makes it easier when it comes to baking your polymer sculpture or drying your air-dried clay sculpture. If you want to see another example of how I use tinfoil for armatures, you can check out this video here. And if you want to subscribe for more tutorials, you can do that here. Thanks for watching. Bye!